it's always a curiosity to me when I talk to people who've been active in Masonry a long time. What was your motivation? Or I might say it another way, what induced you to become a Mason?
Clyde Watkins, which was a member of our lodge since it opened, I believe, in '29. I was working at the Ford place, which is right down the street from where we were at. And I see all these brothers going in and out there all the time, you know. I asked one day what all they done up there, you know. This was in the early 50s, not a mechanic Ford place. So he brought me a petition, but it cost $12 to join. And I didn't make $29 a week. And wasn't any way that I could afford $12, you know, for them dues. So I didn't do nothing about it, and I told them I just couldn't afford it. Well, Don Bergen and I were good friends, and I'd asked him a question too about it. He brought me a petition, and I guess in '68 or '69, and anyway, I turned it in, and that's how I got in the lodge.
So you wanted to several years before you actually did.
But I couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford it.
I had a wife and 2 kids, and well, not at that time, I didn't, but I couldn't afford it, you know, doing all I could afford. So.
Do you, I can't help but ask, do you have any regrets about becoming a Mason?
No, sir. I certainly don't. I'll be here every meeting I can. I missed a lot of meetings in the early 90s and 80s, late 80s and early 90s, because I had a dance band and we played on Friday nights and Saturday nights just about somewhere all the time. And we couldn't, that was our meeting night, was Friday nights. So I didn't get to come for a while. Finally, we got it changed to the meeting nights on the first Monday in each month. And that was the reason for it.
I commented to John about our last stated that you said something to me that was terribly important and seems to me to underline your approach to Masonry. You asked me if there was anything you could do. And if more Masons had that attitude, I think our progress would be greater. So I thank you for that spirit of help and cooperation and wanting to be involved, as well as being chair of the reference committee. And you'll be that again in 2014. So your work is not over.
You know, I'll do it. That still goes as long as I'm able to come. I'll do anything I can, and I'll be to every meeting I can. It's sometimes it's a little bit hard, but most of the time it's easy to get up and come down here. But sometimes you got lots of things going on, and you just don't do it. And next thing you know, why you get out of the notion. And I don't never want to be that way. I always want to come. I like the fellowship and the brotherhood, and you just can't beat it. I don't care where you go.
Brother Charlie, I remember someone saying that at the old lodge it used to have early Saturday morning 3rd degrees. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
We held about all our degrees on Saturday morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and you'd be surprised. The lodges, they had 40, 50 people there. And that's hard to call. A lot of people work through Friday, you know, and they couldn't do it on Friday night. So they done them on Saturday mornings, and that's, we had a good time. We put the degree on, we had coffee and goodies, you know, and so on, but it worked out pretty good.
You must have had breakfast also.
Well, snacks,
Right.
maybe breakfast sometime. Sometimes one of the ladies would bring us a meal, you know.
How do you see the difference in the lodge from the time that you were master until today?
When I was a master, we had like 200 and maybe 25 members. And every time we have a meeting or a degree or anything, there was a pretty good house full, or, you know, it wasn't 4 or 5 extra, it was, you know, 25 or 30 extra. And that's the biggest difference that I see. Of course, all degree work is the same, but that's the biggest difference I see. And we were all campaigning to get money to build this lodge, even when I was master. And that's about the only difference I know of. I still love this lodge. I've been in it 43 years, and we moved up here in '81.
What do you kind of see as the future for the lodge?
Well, we're getting in new candidates every month, and that's a brightest future. Whether they carry on and go through the cheers, you know, it's questionable, but I'm sure part of them will. And we've got some good officers in there now, and got a new secretary. I think he'd do a good job as Rick. Maybe not quite as good, but Brother John, you're doing a good job. The year I was master, we bought these lots from Glen Morgan for $10,000, and we just had enough money to pay him for it. That's how much we had raised. We had turkey shoots, we had a little bit of everything, you know. We had cookouts here in the summer, down at the old place, but that's all I can think of right now.
Did the lodge own the old place, or did they rent that?
No, they rented it. It belonged to the junior order. And the junior order, I don't know if they've dissolved or still in it or what, but that's who we rented it from. The year I was master, I went to the Grand Lodge and I asked the Grand Master down there about us building the lodge. First thing he asked me, how much was the dues? I said, they're $12 a year. He said, you get it raised to $25 a year, and we'll talk about doing it. He said, you can't build no lodge on $12 a year per candidate, you know. So we got them raised up to $25, but had some opposition to it. Glenn Morgan has sold us this land. He said, you raise the due to $25 and I won't never be back. But he never missed a meeting. Neither did nobody else. And so that helped us along. And then Jack Cordell was a master in '79. And we didn't get much done that year. But in 1980, when Rusty took over, he had a drive on. We all had a drive on to build this building. And after we bought the land, we laid the cornerstone out here, and the Grand Master come. I believe it was on June the 10th, and we laid that cornerstone, and he came back in our December stated meeting, and we had it finished. And the day they just put the carpet in this, Tyson, the day that we had the meeting that night, that's all we owed for was the carpet. There may be another little bill or two. By that meeting night, when we had the meeting, we had enough to pay for it.
Oh.
So it was completely paid for when we moved in it in 1980. So that was a real accomplishment. We did a lot of work out here. Rusty's out here every day. I was out here about every day that somebody wasn't looking. I could get off work every Saturday and sometimes on Sundays. And Rusty Lunsford, Jack Cordell, myself, Don Bergen, plumbing, I helped him. I wired most of this myself, and Bruce Bartlett helped me some. I was out here laying the rock on the front corner out here, and up comes old Jeter Riddle. He's from down in Sanford, North Carolina, and he moved up here and retired and won't know what he'd have to do to get in here, transfer up here. I was, boy, we can fix that right up. And so he brings that up all the time. You remember when I come up here and seen about joining Hawaii? Yep. He was out there laying rock. Oh, yeah, I remember. Very well. So.
Did I hear right when somebody said that when you bought this property, it was in the floodplain and you had to fill it?
Yeah, back over next to the creek, there was a high bank back there. We built a high bank all the way down through there to, used to be a little radio station back there. Yes, it was in the flood zone, but then we built this up. This is not where probably built it up 2 feet above the flood zone, whatever it was. And as far as I know, we've never had a drop of water in here. We've had it in the yard, but not in the building. So that's about it, I guess.
Well, brother, all I can say is thank you for your good life personally and for your especially good life as a Mason. It's been my honor and privilege to work with you. And when I petitioned this lodge, you were the chair of the committee that interviewed me. So
Yeah.
I thank you for doing that positively. And I look forward to many more years together in this lodge.
Well, I hope so too. At least 15, My daddy lived to be almost 90 now. I plan on outliving him if the good Lord's willing to let me stay here that long. That's a while off. I'll be 80 in June the 13th. Be 80 years old. I thought 80 was old. I still think young. I don't know when you start thinking like an old 80-year-old man, but I'm not there yet. I like to camp, I like to fish, I like to party, I like to do things all in good taste. We have a trailer at Lake James Landing, and we've been camping down there at least 40 years. I've been camping there all my life. My mother lived down the head of Mill Creek down there, was where she was born and raised. And so I got a ride down there.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I go up in Mill Creek, I give her the high sign. Yeah, I guess guess that's about it.